Location: Fremont, IN. USA. Shape: fireball. Duration: 30 minutes. No of observers. 100 UFOs shaped like a glowing flamecrafts viewed by many. I videotaped 3 of them on July 7, 2007 at Clear Lake, Indiana. At night I shot video of UFOs flying over our lake. Here are the details of my sighting over Clear Lake in Fremont, Indiana on July 7, 2007 at approximately 10:30 p.m. Clear Lake was celebrating the 4th of July with fireworks on July 7, 2007 at about 9:50 p.m. The fireworks lasted until around 10:30 p.m. My family, including my son-in-law and his wife and kids, were standing on our pier just as the fireworks ended. It was a crystal clear evening and you could easily see the leftover smoke from the fireworks against the darkening starlit night. The leftover firework smoke was drifting about 200 to 300 feet high and 500 yards out from me, moving left to right as we stood on the pier looking to the north. My 36-year-old son-in-law pointed out this moving object to our left above the fireworks smoke, moving left to right, seemingly glowing like a flame. It was circular and it appeared to look like the fire and glow of the tailpipe of a fighter jet without noise or sound. The object was the size of a medium aircraft but perfectly round. The object was moving much faster than the fireworks smoke still drifting across the northern sky. I look even further back to my left and it looked like several of these fiery objects were lined up in single file like you would see at an airport with airplanes lined up to land. The fiery objects passed overhead right in front of us in single file and moved rapidly east and upwards until they went out of sight. I counted 8 of them which flew west to east, almost horizon to horizon. As a 15-year veteran NBC affiliate director, producer in television, I frequently carry a video camera for chasing storms and news stories and decided to run to grab my video camera in our cottage during the sighting. It only took me seconds to grab my video gear, but before I could get it started recording I was only able to videotape one single object flying left to right, climbing out of sight like the other 7 objects. Then 2 more of the objects with the same look, flying perfectly parallel to each other, flew to the center of the lake and followed the exact same course until the 2 glow flame objects perfectly turned together in unison, and instead of following the rest of the glow flame objects to the east, they headed directly straight to the north where I facing during the time I was videotaping. The other 8 objects all flew to the east and climbed out of sight, but the last 2 that flew side by side did not climb like the others but kept the same altitude of about 1,000 feet until they dropped from sight in the northern horizon. The whole event lasted about 20 to 30 minutes with the objects seemingly spaced evenly apart. The fireworks smoke was still slowly drifting east about 5 miles an hour after the incident. These objects maneuvered about and were traveling much faster than the fireworks smoke. I stood there on the pier looking at one last glowing light that did not move in the west, and I was not sure that it was another glow flame object. I gave it about 5 minutes and wrote it off to being a water tower beacon off in the distance. I went inside the cottage for a bit and returned in about 20 minutes later to find that the object I waiting on, that I thought was a water tower beacon, we not in the west, and in fact, there were no lights at all. So then I assume it was one of the objects I had been witnessing and did not stick around long enough to see where that UFO headed. There were many people on the lake that night and witnessed these objects. I work with a man who was at the yacht club on the lake that night with approximately 100 guests for a graduation party who all witnessed the fireworks and the same objects. I called 911 and to my surprise no one had reported what I had seen. There have not been any reports in newspapers or media since then. I have talked to a few people who live at the lake who claim they either saw the objects that night or heard about it.
Occurred, the 15th of October 1999, 14 hours 30 minutes and 0 seconds. Local location: Fremont, IN, USA. Shape: diamond. Duration: 3 minutes. No of observers. 1. A huge diamond-shaped mirrored surfaced, revolving object moving across the sky in mid-afternoon. While taking a break from paperwork in my garage office, It was a very clear, crisp, fall day. I was keeping track of these huge praying manti that were looking for sunlight on the eave of the garage when I noticed what I immediately thought was a door falling off of a jetliner. It was just east of due north and 60 degrees above the horizon, and it appeared to be falling at a downward angle, drifting eastward of straight down. I was at first convinced it was a door from a jet plane, then realized it was much too reflective mirror-like to be a painted surface. As I started to calculate where it would land, it stopped dead in the air, instantly. I then realized several things. It was much larger and farther away than I originally thought, and the shape of it was in reality two pyramids base to base, with mirrored surfaces. The diamond shape appeared to be revolving, in place, at about 60 cycles per second, a rough guess, and was oriented vertically, straight up and down. Just as I was trying to guess the size of it, about the size of my index fingernail held at arm's length, some of the few small clouds that were in the sky drifted in front of it. It then started falling again. It was then I realized it was not falling at all, but it was moving across the sky as a satellite would at night. It sparkled and moved in that easterly direction, getting slightly smaller, until the tree line at the horizon obscured it. When it was gone, I was dumbstruck and tried to reason that I had seen a large satellite in the middle of the day. If so, it had to have been huge, and have the ability to stop instantly, and the diamond shape was absolutely unmistakable. It was easily seen with the naked eye.
Occurred the 13th of June 2023, 22 hours 57 minutes and 0 seconds. Local location: Pleasant Lake, IN, USA. Location details: 2625 South Golden Lake Road. Shape: rectangle. Duration: 10 minutes. No of observers. 5 characteristics: lights on object, aura or haze around object. Animals reacted low. Slow flying dark gray rectangle with flashing lights headed northeast over I-69. Checking horses before headed in for the night. My 9-year-old son began screaming about lights in the sky that were blinking. I went out of the barn and looked up to see a very slow and low flying rectangle-shaped object. The lights along the bottom were in a line, bright LED white, and illuminating the bottom. Bottom appeared to be dark gray. Husband, a Navy vet, came out because of the yelling and saw the object as it crossed over our property to the adjacent property and passed by, over a radio tower, and continued northeast over I-69 and towards Angola and the Indiana, Ohio, Michigan border. 100% was not Starlink. We've seen that several times, and this was way lower, brighter, and had body to it. Husband estimates it was flying at maybe 20,000 feet. The dogs and horses have been extremely agitated since the sighting, especially the broodmare that has a foal at her side.